Hi, Dawn.
Hi, Juliet.
According to the MIT Age Lab, most of us will spend 8,000 days or a quarter of our life in retirement. Now that so many of us are living longer, what impact do you see that having on the transfer of wealth to the next generation?
Well, impacts can come in the form of delayed or spent inheritances if parents live longer. And certainly if parents live longer and also have significant long-term care costs, the impact can be even greater. That's a fairly obvious impact. A more subtle impact is that many people are deciding to work longer because they're living longer, and that means owners of lucrative family businesses are often staying in the business longer, and that can delay access to the business income as well as the ultimate asset transfer to the next generation.
You can really think about it as almost a fractal, which just continues to get more and more complex as all of the different possibilities lay themselves out. All of the traditional assumptions that planners have been making for years are now being challenged.
Additionally, what we're seeing is that even very wealthy people are concerned about long-term care costs, and that often results in them being less willing to make lifetime gifts, so things like gifts to their children or paying perhaps high private school or college tuition. They may be less likely to do so if they're concerned about their own costs of longevity or potential long-term care costs in old age.
How do you see it impacting things like marriage and family structures?
Many people are saying that greater longevity is contributing to gray divorce. For those who are not familiar with that term, that refers to people who are divorcing after the age of 50. Certainly a late-in-life divorce can have significant impacts on retirement planning, especially if you imagine that a retirement plan is designed assuming a lifelong marriage. Also, gray divorce introduces the possibility of a new spouse. Oftentimes they can be much younger, and that younger spouse will require a larger portfolio in order to cover their own longevity risk. Sometimes we see disparities in the wealth level of the remarrying couple, and oftentimes that means it can be more costly to remarry. That cost is borne not only by the person who is remarrying, but also their potential heirs. One of the things that we advocate in these cases is to have a conversation where both parties are equally engaged so that everyone's clear on the potential impact of remarriage, and also to have communications about how to begin to build a new life together while still managing your goals for transferring wealth to your children and other family members.
And how do you suggest that we respond to some of the longevity risks that you outlined?
Certainly, traditionally, insurance has been used to address these kinds of issues. So we can use ILITs and life insurance. Oftentimes, in the case of a second marriage where you have a younger spouse, life insurance can be a great way to provide assets for either your children or a second spouse or both. Certainly, in terms of dealing with gray divorce and the potential impacts that we've talked about, using prenuptial or postnuptial agreements can be great tools to protect family wealth. And we've had some success addressing late in life long-term care costs by using things like margin on security accounts.
So the good news is that we have better technology and we have better information. So we need to use this kind of technology and information to build out models and assess how firm we feel about the assumptions we're making and about potential outcomes.
So for example, if you have an elderly, wealthy individual, it may be more beneficial for the family and the overall wealth situation to margin that account rather than selling securities and paying a high tax cost. So there are really a lot of opportunities for people to better understand potential longevity risk, what that implication might mean for their retirement plan as well as legacy plans for their heirs. And also a lot of tools to be used from an investment perspective to address longevity.
Now, we want our clients to experience meaning and joy and live good lives. and it shouldn't all be about money. But what it does mean is that we have to be increasingly careful to make sure that that ultimately our clients have sufficient probability of success. So these kinds of important subjects become increasingly important as we have a longer period of time in which they can be applied.